Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi,
Hello, good evening.
students. Yes, good evening. Thank you. Thank you for actually joining us again for the session today. I know some of you, again, I do see some names that we have seen before. So thank you very much also for joining our session today. Because as you all know that every Friday we have a different guest coming in. All right. So today actually we have Keertthna. Keertthna, she's actually from Shell Business Operation. All right, and then also we also have Ming Xiang from ICAEW that most of you have already met him every week. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so if you do have any friends who have registered for the session and then maybe they just forgotten it for a moment, okay, can maybe just drop them a message. Okay, drop like a courtesy message, let them know that we are going to start the session. Okay, to let them know for them to join the session now. All right, so thank you very much. All right, so without wasting any further time, I think I'll pass the session to Ming Xiang for the session.
Thank you very much, Evelyn, and a very good evening to everyone that's here today. All right, for those of you who are returning to our session, welcome back. All right, I hope you have picked up a lot of nuggets from the previous session. Today, we have another guest speaker. All right, okay, we have Keertthna Supiah, who is from the Shell Business Operations in Cyberjaya, right? And she is also an ICAEW Chartered Accountant. All right, so for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. All right, welcome to our session, our Friday night evening sessions. And what I'll do is, for the benefit for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I will start by playing a short video about ICAEW, and then I'll let you know a little bit about ICAEW before we then go on and bring Keertthna on stage, all right, our virtual stage. Okay, so sit back and relax, and let me introduce you to ICAEW.
Are you ready to future-proof your career with ICAEW? You can kickstart a journey that is recognized and preferred by top employers globally. The ICAEW qualification is for anyone with a passion for accountancy, business, and finance. And there are several pathways to get you started. As soon as you leave school, you can study for the ICAEW certificate in finance, accounting, and business, the direct route for acquiring the ACA qualification. While university students or graduates could enroll for the qualification during or after their degree. You may apply for credits for prior learning, also known as exemptions, or gain strategic credits at selected universities in Malaysia. What's more, you also have the opportunity to complete the ACA qualification while being employed. ICAEW Chartered Accountants are highly sought after in any industry for their expertise in business acumen and strategy. 96 of the world's 100 global leading brands employ ICAEW Chartered Accountants, and 83% of FTSE companies have an ICAEW Chartered Accountant on their board. You can be a part of a global network of 186,500 ICAEW members and students in 150 countries and work anywhere in the world with recognition from the Chartered Accountants Worldwide and Global Accounting Alliance networks. ICAEW is founded in 1880 with a royal charter and is one of the oldest professional bodies with a long history of serving the public interest and supporting members globally. As we continue to work with governments, regulators, and business leaders around the world, we believe that chartered accountancy can be a force for positive change. We share our professional insight, expertise, and understanding of business and finance to create a world of strong economies and sustainable future for all. Check out what our chartered accountants have to say about the ICAEW experience.
ICAEW carries a lot of weight in the accounting and finance world. And the reason the brand is so strong is because it produces finance leaders who think critically, act ethically, and with integrity.
The knowledge that I gained from ICAEW helped me in my day-to-day work, ranging from financial reporting, tax, and how to adapt into different kind of situation at the workplace. I would say ICAEW provide a very strong and solid foundation to prepare the students for the actual workplace.
My current role requires me to be fully knowledgeable in fixed asset accounting, and the ACA syllabus encompasses all of these and more.
Start your path towards becoming a chartered accountant with ICAEW. For more info or to register your interest, please contact our ICAEW personnel.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Right, it's a short introduction to ICAEW. And so right now, let me just share a little bit with you about our background, our chartered accountants, and about the qualification before we bring our guest speaker on board. So in the meantime, if you have any questions along this session, if you want to ask us anything, please do not hesitate to use the chat function, which is below on the Zoom controls. And then you can key in the questions in there, and we will address your questions as we go along during our presentation. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time and who are wondering what is the ICAEW, we are the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. We were founded in 1880 by Royal Charter from the Queen of England. So the ICAEW, being founded in 1880, we are actually the second oldest professional body in the world. The Scottish body was the first, and the England and Wales body was the second body to be formed, and that makes us collectively the oldest professional bodies in the world. We started off in London, excuse me. We started off in London, but today our chartered accountants has expanded, and together with that, our offices that are servicing the members have expanded to Europe, as well as to Asia, with offices in Beijing, Hong Kong, even in Singapore, Jakarta, and of course, even in Kuala Lumpur as well. Currently, we have more than 156,000 members, chartered accountants working in 150 different countries around the world. And 96 of the world's 100 global leading brands, including Shell, including Schlumberger, Nike, Reebok, Mercedes-Benz, and even, of course, those of you who are interested in football, Manchester United, hires ICAEW chartered accountants to work with them. In Malaysia, more than 200 authorized training employers are ready to take in our chartered accountants to train and to qualify them to become members. All right. And we are very proud to share with you as well that 100% of our ICAEW students who have completed the professional level successfully gets employed within 3 months after their graduation. Our ICAEW chartered accountants are trained beyond just accounting and finance. Hence, they are also embedded with IT skills, they're embedded with business acumen, making ICAEW chartered accountants a business and finance specialist. And that's what makes them able to work in almost any industry around the world, be it whether it is working in a hotel like Shangri-La or Hilton, or working with oil and gas organizations like Shell or Petronas, right? Working in the sports like Manchester United, pharmaceutical firms like Duo Pharma, Pfizer, right? As well as, of course, the traditional audit and accounting firms like PwC, Ernst & Young, KPMG, to name a few. In other words, you can virtually work in any industry as an ICAEW chartered accountant. Not only that, the ICAEW qualification is also one of the most portable qualifications in the world, being recognized by so many professional bodies around the globe. ICAEW is the founding member and part of Chartered Accountants Worldwide, a collection of professional bodies mutually agreed together to recognize qualifications. All right. So, for example, ICAE Chartered Accountants have reciprocal recognition with Singapore, with the umbrella body called Institute of Singapore Chartered Accountants. ICAEW Chartered Accountants can also work in Australia, New Zealand, via recognition with the chartered accountants in Australia and New Zealand, also with Indonesia, Pakistan, Zimbabwe, Sri Lanka, and many other countries. With the ICAEW qualification, we are also part of the Global Accounting Alliance, giving you opportunities to also work in America because of our collaboration with the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, with Canada, with Hong Kong, Japan, and South Africa, to name a few other countries as well. In other words, the world is your oyster when you become a chartered accountant with ICAEW, with the opportunities to work with almost any other country around the globe. To take up the ICAEW qualification, we have 15 exam modules in our curriculum, right? And anyone can start taking the ICAEW curriculum, regardless whether you come from a science background, right, where your acumen in logic thinking, mathematics will give you an advantage, or even if you come from an arts background and you have taken accounting, business management, or in Bahasa, you call them perdagangan, right? Okay, you will have an advantage, a kickstart, a head start into the curriculum, of course, right? But whether you come from science or arts, everybody will come into the certificate level, where we call it the knowledge level, where you are then trained and you are then given the knowledge necessary for you to start your education in accounting, assurance, and taxation. When you move on to the professional level, that's where you then learn how to apply whatever that you have learned in your first 6 modules. You will then learn to apply in your next 6 modules. And you will notice that this is where we start to also introduce you to business aspects in business planning, strategy, and technology as well. And of course, when you complete the professional level, a very unique point of ICAEW that you don't find in many other professional qualifications is that to complete the last level, the advanced level of the curriculum, you will be required to be fully employed. Yes, that's right. You must be employed to be able to complete the last 3 modules in Malaysia, right? And in fact, that is an advantage because you will then be able to secure employment at a very young age. And using the work experience, you will then be able to complete the last 3 modules, which is accumulation of all the 12 modules. You now learn how to apply it at work. So this is a simple flowchart, okay, of the ICAEW program. As you can see, there are multiple routes for you to start the ICAEW training. Upon completing high school, whether it is SPM or O levels or even the IB middle years program, you can then either choose to continue on to a pre-university, like for example, A levels or STPM, right? And then after that, continue on to a degree, right? Which is the very common route that a lot of students in Malaysia take, where upon completing either a 3 or 4 year degree, you can then gain exemptions and then start your professional journey by taking up ICAEW. Alternatively, 50% of our students take this route, where after completing SPM or O levels, if you're very sure that accounting or accountancy or business finance is the qualification that you want to embark on, and if you're very sure that's your choice of career, many of our students, which I mentioned, 50% of our students will start by taking the ICAEW CFAB, the Certificate in Finance, Accounting, and Business, right? The CFAB program, for example, the one that's offered in Sunway, is a 1.5 years program consisting of a year of study and a half a year of placement or internship, giving you a flavor of how the working life will be. Upon completing CFAB, you will then be able to then move on into the professional level, where you will then spend another 1 more year to complete the second tier of the professional qualification. And upon completing the professional level, you are now going to embark into full-time employment. That's right, the blue color box, full-time employment, where you will then work and study at the same time together with your peers and your friends who have graduated with a degree. That's right, you will start work together with degree holders, right? For example, if you join audit, you will go in and become an audit associate, and you will start work shoulder to shoulder with degree students, right? And that's where you will then complete your last 3 modules. So, fellow audience tonight, by taking CFAB and the professional level, you will notice that it is the fastest route to employment, and especially during the pandemic right now, right? Where job security is one of the most important things for graduates. I assure you that by taking the CFAB and professional level, right, you have one leg in at employment already. And the reason is because ICAEW works with more than 200 authorized training employers in Malaysia, and these employers are ready to take you in, to employ you and help you to complete your training and qualification to be an ICAEW Chartered Accountant. So as you can see on the screen, these are some of the organizations that we work with, part of the 200, right? And we have big firms like BDO, Deloitte, EY, PwC, KPMG, Grant Thornton, right? As well as oil and gas like Petronas, Schlumberger, Shell, banks, multinational banks like Maybank, for example, where Maybank gives you the opportunity to work with any of the 18 branches that they have across the world, all right? As well as multinational banks like CIMB, M-Bank, UOB. We also work with government agencies like Bursa Malaysia, UEM, Tenaga, and of course our national bank, Bank Negara as well, right? So in other words, you have so many choices of employers to work with when you complete your professional level and embark into your employment. When you complete your qualification and become an ICAEW Chartered Accountant, you will be part of a network of corporate leaders. As you can see, the equivalent of a CEO, the managing partners of 4 of the big 6 firms in Malaysia, they are all ICAEW Chartered Accountants. All right. Not only that, the CEO and president of Petronas, Tengku Muhammad Taufik, is an ICAEW Chartered Accountant. Dignitaries like Raja Tan Sri Datuk Sri Arshad, former chairman of Maxis, is also an ICAEW Chartered Accountant. And the head of financial services and people at KPMG is also an ICAEW member as well. We also have prominent women like Wan Shamila Wan Muhammad Saidi, the Chief Digital Officer of Petronas. She's responsible for the IT infrastructure of the oil and gas giant in Malaysia. She is also an ICAEW Chartered Accountant. And if you tune in to BFM 89.9 every morning, you will hear another Chartered Accountant, Ms. Noel Lim, talking to you about growing commercial awareness. And a very strong advocate of the ICAEW qualification, Encik Mustamir Muhammad, is also a Chartered Accountant as well. So, as you can see, when you become a Chartered Accountant, not only will you benefit from the qualification, you will also benefit from being part of a network of Chartered Accountants in Malaysia. All right. If you have any questions, this is my contact. Right. I will share it again at the end of the session. But before that, let us bring in our guest for tonight, Ms. Keertthna, who will then speak to us and share her experience as a Chartered Accountant when she works in Shell. All right. So may I welcome Ms. Keertthna Supiah. Hi, Keertthna.
Hello. Good evening.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Sorry to keep you. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Right. Great. Sorry to keep you waiting for
okay.
the whole evening. All right. So, Keertthna, why don't we start by sharing with us a little bit about yourself? All right. Where are you working now, and what do you do?
Okay, sure. I'm currently employed with Shell Business Operations. So in short, it's called the SBO. So we're based in Wisma Shell in Cyberjaya, but at the moment it's work from home for everyone.
All right. Can you elaborate a little bit about the role that you do, Keertthna, at Shell?
Yeah. So currently I am a finance analyst, and I'm in the upstream division. So we're basically handling the accounting and financial reporting for the Malaysian entities. So Shell's Malaysian entities based in Sabah and Sarawak. So we, my team specifically, we perform the fixed asset related entries. So we are very specifically doing just upstream fixed asset related.
So that's a very, I mean, many of us, I think some of these students may not be familiar with the term upstream. And they may have heard of downstream and upstream as well.
Yeah,
so
sure,
what's the difference between upstream and downstream?
Okay, so for example, if you see in our oil and gas industry, right? So there is the part where it's at the, how do you say, it's at the ridge, the part where they're digging the oil and they are dredging.
The drilling.
The drilling and the dredging. Yeah, so that is upstream. So basically the really, how do you say, the really raw part where, where they are extracting the oil or the gas. Yeah, so that part is called upstream. So that is where most of the fixed assets are based actually, because all the equipments used for those operations, right? Those are really big, those are really material. So that is upstream. Downstream is, for example, the petrol stations that we see. That is downstream, and then they sell their lubricants and their all kind of
consumer products.
Consumer products, exactly. Yeah, so those are downstream. Yeah, so I'm currently in the upstream side. So fixed asset is a very big component of the upstream operations. Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that you manage the accounting for the fixed assets for the upstream. Does it mean that you what does it mean? What do you actually do? Do you count the machines or?
Because we are currently based here, so what we do is we get all the data from our focals. So we have our onshore focals who are based in Sabah and Sarawak. So our team, we carry out all the basically the accounting and the month-end, quarter-end, year-end entries, like for example, everything relating to depreciation, capitalization, impairments. What else is there? Yeah, so even assets under construction. Yeah, everything relating to fixed asset, whatever that is on paper, the accounting, the financial reporting side will be handled. Yeah, but it's not just that. There has been instance where we even have to go to Sabah and Sarawak. So for example, let's say we have to do fixed asset tagging, which is this exercise where we have to physically cite the asset and we have to tag it, like manually fix a tag to it to identify the asset. So for that, we actually have to go to Sabah Sarawak.
So if they tell you that they're using a kind of drill, you make sure that the drill exists.
Yeah, the drill actually exists. Yeah. And so it's also to assign a unique code for each.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's very similar to audit as well, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
make sure that the accounts are in place.
Yeah.
You make sure that the assets are in place as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very interesting, Keertthna, because that brings me to my next question. We know of many accounting students who, when they complete the qualification, the first role that many of them, in fact, based on our statistics, a huge whooping 70-80% will end up in audit. What made you choose Shell?
Actually, I did start in audit. I was in EY for over 3 years.
Wow.
So that was where I completed my last 3 papers. I took and completed. Yeah. So after I was, I think about exactly 3 years, 3 months after being in EY, I left last year.
All right. Yeah. And that's when you joined Shell.
Yeah, that's when I joined. So I actually did, I guess you can say, did take the traditional path. Like I did join public accounting right after finishing my professional papers.
And I think that at EY, that's where you completed your qualification.
I took the last 3. The last 3 advanced level papers while I was employed in EY.
All right. So I think this is the compulsory question that I ask every guest that comes into the session as well. Why, of all the professional qualification, why did you choose ICAEW?
Actually, surprise, I think I'm probably one of the very few who made up my mind when I was 16. Like when I was still in school, when I was 16. So at that point, I already knew I wanted a career in accounting. So I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of research. I even had the booklet from Sunway, the one on the professional accounting. Yeah. So I was doing my reading and my online research, and it was just obvious that ICAEW just stood out. Like compared to everything else, including degree and whatnot. I mean, for me personally, I felt like ICAEW stood out. And the fact that it had CFAB, a route for me to start the qualification right after school. Yeah, that was basically like, that just made it so much easier for me to just, decide that was what I wanted. Yeah.
And looking back at the route that you have taken as well, a very common question that a lot of parents ask is that, why did you start with CFAB? Why didn't you take the traditional degree route?
I think like what you shared earlier, you mentioned that, you get a head start, you get to start working much earlier than your peers. That was actually really, really appealing to me when I was in school. Because at that point, I knew exactly I wanted to do ICAEW. So I felt like starting with maybe pre-U, like A-levels or anything else, or even degree, felt like, it was just going to take longer time. Because I knew eventually I was going to come back to ICAEW. So I told myself, might as well just start with CFAB. The second I'm out of school, I'm already starting the syllabus. I'm already seeing hands-on what ICAEW is all about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. I think similar to many of your peers, Keertthna, because if you mentioned that, I think you have started CFAB immediately after high school, 3 years in EY, and now you're in Shell. All right, you will probably already have 5 years plus of working experience.
Yeah,
right?
5 years.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'll say that you're even you've not even reached 25.
Yeah, I'm 25 this year, actually.
Right. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, you can hear again from another testimony that another advantage of a chartered accountant who started off after high school, right? She has already got 5 years of working experience at the age of 25 and already working at her second employment already. Right. And I think that's a great head start, for a young woman like you. So will you be able to elaborate a little bit more? How did the ICAEW qualification benefited you in your role in EY and now in Shell? All right, compared to how did it benefited you? In other words, what was it that you have learned that you are now able to put into practice? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think ever since I started the ICAEW until now, one thing I've realized about the qualification is their emphasis on practical experience. So not just in terms of work experience, but even the syllabus, the ICAEW syllabus, a lot of the questions that you encounter on your exam will be, scenario-based questions. So they will give you a scenario. They will tell you, like, for example, you are a finance professional. A client comes to you with this. So what advice do you give them? So that's actually an actual example that they would present to you in their exam. So it really helps you because you have to get into that role. You have to think that way. Yeah. So that really helps. That really gives us that. Things like professional skepticism, that makes you think like a professional before you even start working. And I think the added advantage was the fact where we have to do the last 3 papers while we work. So I think that was really helpful because I was in audit, and audit was pretty heavy on the last 3 materials as well. I can't remember which one was. I think it was corporate reporting. Yeah. So there was a lot of audit and even financial reporting in that. So the advantage is that when you are working, you are already experiencing it. So whatever you are experiencing in your day-to-day work, you can just apply it on your exams. Yeah, so compared to my peers who were not working, I think I definitely had an advantage. Yeah, so because a lot of the materials, I don't even have to read it because I know it from my work experience already. So that really helped. It helped both ways. It helped the exam and it also helped my employment as well. Yeah, and also I think it's the fact that ICAEW emphasizes a lot on ethics. So they have this thing where every paper they have to cover ethics. They have, ICAEW has, I think it's the five code, I think. Yeah, I still remember that. Yeah.
So that is increase it to 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So at every paper it's covered and it's emphasized, and it will definitely appear on the exam. Yeah, so I think that helps a lot in the professional world when you're working. Things like professional skepticism, objectivity, integrity, all of this, you will remember it when you're working. It will really apply. Yeah, it really helps.
That's very good. I mean, hearing this from you, first-hand information from you, I think that's very helpful. So ladies and gentlemen, I think you have heard what Keertthna has mentioned as well. What she has just mentioned is actually very unique to ICAEW. Not many professional organizations in the world will embed compulsory work experience into part of your curriculum, right? As I mentioned earlier during my presentation, when I shared the flow chart, you will notice that to complete the last 3 papers, specifically for Malaysians, you must be employed to be able to take the advanced level of ICAEW. Parents ask us why so many times. Other professional bodies, I can finish all the papers on my own. But why does ICAEW require the working experience? And it's very simple. It's because we ensure that our chartered accountants, when they complete the qualification, they hit the job market and they come out with work experience ready. On top of that, our chartered accountants in training at the advanced level, when they are employed, they are put under what we call a training agreement, where as part of the training agreement, they will have to pick up ethics as part of the training, as well as the 7 ladders of professional development. I think you might remember that as well, Keertthna, right?
Yeah, I remember.
That's why they train you on teamwork, communication, adding value, and so on as well. And that's what makes a chartered accountant, especially an ICAEW chartered accountant, very holistic when you complete all 15 papers, right? And just to share again, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we do this is because, again, ICAEW is one of the rare professional bodies in the world where we consult our employers every year. That's right. In every country in the world, we will consult our authorized training employers and we will ask them, what would you want to see in your employees? And they will tell us, Shell will tell us, we want students with this knowledge. We want graduates with this knowledge. EY, KPMG, and Deloitte will tell you they want this. They want tech. They want students who can work in cloud environment. And what we do is we embed it in our curriculum, right? And whatever students are learning this year, they will learn something new the next year. And that's how ICAEW work, all right? I have 2 more questions for you, Keertthna, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Right? So what do you see? How would you see your ICAEW career be in the future? All right. How, again, do you think the qualification will take you far? Will you be in Malaysia? What will you see your career be in, let's say, 5 years' time?
Actually, ever since I started the qualification, I always had the ambition to move overseas, abroad someday, just for the experience of it. And I clearly remember, I think it was maybe in my 2nd year in EY, I actually got an offer from, I think it was KPMG UK, if I'm not mistaken, London. Yeah, so, and it's not just me, even my colleagues, my peers from college who were working with me in EY, ICAEW students as well, even they got offers. And a number of them even went. They're already in KPMG London or PwC London. Some of them are in Singapore. So I think this is another testimonial that the qualification is recognized. Like there's nothing much we need to add about it. We don't have to, explain to them, oh, I learned this or I learned that. The moment you say you are ICAEW qualified, you're an ACA, they know what you are capable of. They know that, you've already gotten your 3 years work experience and all that. Yeah. So definitely it's globally recognized, especially I think in Europe, in Singapore, it's very much sought after. Yeah.
That's very good to hear, Keertthna, because you are right. We actually do have many Malaysian members who are currently based in China, in UK, in Australia, even in New Zealand as well. All right. And of course, I personally know a friend in South Africa as well. All right. And yes, ICAEW chartered accountants are everywhere around the world, because if you remember again, ladies and gentlemen, in my presentation, the ICAEW qualification is one of the most portable qualification in the world, being recognized by other professional bodies in different countries around the globe as well, right? So before we hand the reins back to Sunway, Keertthna, right, do you have anything that you would like to advise potential students or as well as parents who are in the call today about ICAEW?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're considering a professional accounting qualification for your children or for yourself, I don't think you can go wrong with ICAEW CFAB. Honestly, until today, people ask me, is it easy? The answer is definitely no. It's not easy. It is a difficult qualification. It is rigorous, but it's worth it. I always tell people that it's really worth it. Even when I joined, I knew it was going to be difficult, but I told myself it's for a very short period of time. In just 2.5 years, you will be in the working world, and then you just have 3 more papers and you're done. And in fact, even now, so many people, like even in Shell, people find it hard to believe that I have over 4 years experience, almost 5 years experience, and I'm just 25. Yeah, so ICAEW is definitely beneficial. It is worth the hard work. That's all I can say. Yeah.
And I think I think being in a multinational organization like Shell is very rewarding itself. And you were previously also in EY, a multinational audit firm as well.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Sunway works very closely with these bodies, ICAEW and also Sunway, they work very closely with EY, PwC. You will always have access to support. You will always have access to study leaves. I've heard people worrying if they have to work and study at the same time, will they be able to cope? Will they be able to manage? Honestly, being completely honest, I took 3 papers while I was working and I didn't have any problem. There was more than enough study leave. There was actually plenty of study leave, paid study leave. And there's a lot of guidance from the lecturers, study materials, all while you're working. So I think that should not be an issue at all. If anything, it would be really beneficial. You will get the work experience and you can just apply it on your papers right away. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Keertthna. This is such a positive outlook and a very positive way of looking at it. You are right. I think the major concerns that a lot of students, especially when they start embarking into the CFAB, is they will always wonder whether they can cope with employment at a very young age. And I think listening to you and also the past few speakers that we have who were also as young as you, Keertthna, all right? Okay, and I think for those ladies and gentlemen, those of you who have been following it for the weeks, you can see that all these young professionals today, they have benefited so much. Yes, admittedly, Keertthna shared the same thing. It is a little bit of hard work, but the rewards are plenty at the end of the journey. All right. So Keertthna, thank you so much for being with us tonight. All right. I'm going to pass the reins back to Sunway.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ming Xiang, for this opportunity, for this sharing session. It was good. It was a good sharing session. Yeah, really enjoyed.
Yeah, in fact, we benefited from your sharing actually. So it is a privilege to help you. But if you don't mind, please stay on the call. Just in case there are more questions and answers after Evelyn. Evelyn's going to share about Sunway right now.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll pass the reins back to Evelyn. Evelyn, back to you about Sunway, the program and the scholarship as well.
Thank you very much, Ming Xiang. Thank you. And also thank you, Keertthna, for actually also sharing your experience, because I think for these past days also, we have been having a mixed group of speakers, and then today actually we have someone from Shell. I do think that Shell is considered a really popular option as well for students, because some might think, I want to go to the big corporation, I want to go to the popular corporations. So when they hear about Shell, they know this brand. Correct or not? May I get any yes from the audience? Does anybody here know Shell? What Shell is? Anyone? Type into the comments. Yes, right? So you see, almost everybody knows what Shell is and what it does and where to find one, right? Because it's always on your waist. All right. So you see, guys, actually Shell is considered as a multinational. So there's actually a lot more info about it lah. So thank you very much for Keertthna for sharing your insights on what actually your work involves. So for those students who want to follow the footsteps of Keertthna and also would like to pursue ICAEW, so you can actually consider and look into CFAB program. Or actually, CFAB program is a course that is possible for SPM students to take up so that you can proceed directly into the ICAEW program. All right, now allow me to share my screen. All right, so allow me to share my screen over here. Okay, so I believe there are actually quite a number of SPM students right now in the chat comment, as well as some parents over here, because I do recognize some names who has actually WhatsApped me before regarding scholarships. All right, so I do recognize some of your names here. So thank you very much for inquiring with me through WhatsApp. All right, so and also thank you very much for joining for the session today to find out more about the CFAB program at ICAEW as well. So now, if you have just gotten your SPM results, okay, now if you do want to take up the CFAB program, the minimum requirement would be 5 A's from your SPM. You will need to have your English and mathematics needs to be compulsory A, okay, even A minus is included. And don't worry, if you do not take principal accountant for your SPM, it is totally okay. All right. In fact, a lot of our students who join this program, they may not even had any accounting background before, but the moment they join in, you know, in the first subject in the CFAB course, okay, they will actually be teaching them the basics on accounting. So with 5 A's, you join the CFAB program, you'll be going through the course for a 1 year and a half duration. So in this 1 year and a half, you go through 12 subjects, and then after you complete all the examinations, you have to go for work-based learning. So this work-based learning is something similar to an internship, and you have to go through it for 3 months. So the moment you complete your internship, it's considered that you have graduated from CFAB, and then you will progress into the ICAEW course. So ICAEW actually has 3 levels. It starts with certificate, and then to professional, and the last one is advanced level. So the bonus here is, if you start from the CFAB program, you have actually already learned the certificate level of ICAEW studies. So naturally, if you completed that, you move up straight away into the professional level instead for ICAEW. So professional level, there's going to be 6 subjects. You study for 1 year. So once you're done, you go on into the advanced level. Advanced level, there's going to be 3 subjects, but you have to study over a span of 3 years. I know. A lot of you might be thinking, huh? This doesn't make sense. How can I study 6 subjects in 1 year, but then 3 subjects in 3 years for advanced level? All right, okay. For the advanced level, actually, right, you will have to be studying at the same time that you are pursuing your training contract. Training contract basically means that you have to be bonded with a company under this ICAEW training contract for minimum 3 years. You have to undergo, working with the company to gain your experience. And then at the same time, you have to come back to campus to actually take up the 3 paper examination and classes. So altogether, to complete the ICAEW programs from CFAB, you would take 5.5 years. After 5.5 years, you will be able to get your ICAEW membership. And then at the end, if you want to practice as a chartered accountant, which means a professional accountant in Malaysia, using your ICAEW membership, you have to register under a Malaysia's regulatory body for accountants. This body is called MIA, which is Malaysian Institute of Accountants. So you see, right, if you look at this whole path, and then you will realize that actually there's no difference comparing this to another professional path, let's say for medicine. For medicine, if you want to become a doctor, you also have to take up like courses such as matriculation, and later on you have to go into degree. After you finish degree, you have to go for housemanship, right? Usually it's also for 3 to 4 years. So comparing that pathway and this pathway, both are actually the same thing. But the only difference is at the end of a medical path, you become a doctor, and then you get the qualification DR. You get to use DR in front of a name to basically signify to other people that you are a doctor, right? And then you handle human lives, you handle human bodies. But for this CFAB ICAEW program, right, at the end of this course, you'll be able to get the Chartered Accountant qualification. Chartered Accountant, that means behind your name, you get to use this, for ICAEW, you get the ACA qualification. Okay, so this ACA basically just tells people that you are a qualified Chartered Accountant, and then behind your name, you'll be able to use it in a bracket ACA. All right, so for doctors, they handle human lives, but for accountants, you handle money. Okay, you handle businesses. You have to understand a business to be able to, manage the money. So at the end, all the professional program, actually, you go through the same path. It just depends what is your interest, and then are you keen on understanding money management and also, learn the ins and outs of a business management itself. So this is a structure for CFAB. So there's going to be 6 CFAB subjects and 6 additional subjects that you have to study. So let's look at the CFAB subjects. All these 6 here. Actually, right, out of all these, there's only one accounting subject, which is the first one, accounting. Besides accounting, you're not going to be learning anything else related to accounting anymore. It's going to be knowledge related to business, finance, taxation, law, and management assurance. Actually, right, if you take up all these professional accounting course, you are not going to just be learning everything about accounting and then going out just having one option to be an accountant. In fact, right, if you do not want to take up an accounting role, you can still go into finance. You can go into banking. You can go into business. All right, there's a lot of option. There's a lot of variety of occupation that a student with an ICAEW qualification can take up, because in their course they've already learned all these other concepts. So just the same thing. Even if you want to become an accountant, you can't just you can't just be learning about accountancy. You have to learn the aspect of business. You have to understand, you have to understand the human body before you can operate on it, right? So similar here, you have to understand the business before you can, operate all the accounts and identify, what is the money matters going on in the business. All right. So over here, actually, there's going to be 6 additional subjects that you have to learn here. Why there are all these English subjects and thinking skill and communication skills? Because we have to prepare you, okay, in soft skill wise before you go on for your internship. So this internship very unique. All right, this is the only program whereby after SPM you are able to experience a working internship for 3 months. If you go for, let's say for other courses, you have to go through the 3 years degree. Then only you can experience the internship. But very different for CFAB is that they will start you early. So at 19 years old, you can expect to see yourself going out and then to, go into a company, a prestigious company or an authorized company, and then to experience working over there. So the benefit that you can get over here is you'll be able to identify at the very early stage whether you like this job or not, or you want to try out other companies when you go into ICAEW. So you see, this opportunity really is very good because you cannot find this in any other foundation courses. So if you look at the ICAEW structure, just now I did mention that there's 3 levels. So if you come from the CFAB program, automatically you'll be exempted from the certificate level, this green level, and then you will start from the pink level, this professional level. So professional, there are 6 subjects, and as you look through at a glance, same thing. It's not just learning about accountancy, you also learn about business, you also learn about tax, financial management. And then at the end, the final level will be advanced level. These 3 subjects, you have to be working, and then later on you have to come back to campus to study for the classes as part-time students. See, I did mention already, the subjects over here really, they are actually a mixture. All right, you cannot separate business, finance, and accounts out. You have to study all 3 of these elements together to be able to identify, what is going on. So this is actually the comparison, because definitely you might have a lot of thoughts on your mind, how should I approach this accounting course? Because people could be coming to you left and right, top and down, telling you that You should take a pre-U, you should take a diploma, you should take a professional paper. So I know that most of you are quite confused because you just gotten your SPM results, so you are deciding what you want to study. So this is actually the comparison based on the duration. Nowadays, actually, it is a trend to, study fast and then to move on into the next step in life, which is getting into the working phase. So if you are the type who prefers, to complete your studies fast, then you can consider the CFAB pathway to go into ICAEW. So this CFAB to ICAEW path will take you 5.5 years. But if you take up other options, such as a degree path, then you will have to take up pre-U first. Pre-U would be courses like STPM or A-levels or foundation. If you do pre-U, then later on you move on to degree, it will take you another 3 more years. So in total, once you graduate from degree, it will be 4 years of studies. But by then, after you get your degree, right, if you do go out and look for jobs, you are actually still not considered a professional accountant. You can go out and take up accounting roles. However, you are actually not professionally qualified. Okay, so to make sure you get the correct qualification, for promotion purposes, promotion chances, and then, to get better salary and get better opportunities, then these degree students, they will still come back and pursue a professional qualification. So in this case, they can look into ICAEW. But degree student, if they come in to pursue ICAEW, it may take them another 3 to 4 years. So in total, you will end up having to, be in this studying period for 8 years through the degree path. Then only you can get the chartered accountant qualification. So as compared to students who started from CFAB to ICAEW, now you are 18 years old. So if you take the CFAB path, you likely finish it at 23 years old, then you are already a qualified chartered accountant. And at the same time, you already have 3 years of working experience, guys. All right, but compared to degree, it will take you a lot longer time. So it's up to you to decide okay, but from us, definitely we recommend to take up the CFAB pathway because it's a lot faster. And then it also saves up the cost. You can save up to 50% of your tuition fees. To study for the whole CFAB to ICAEW course, it would cost you roughly 70,000 ringgit. But if you go through from the degree path, it will take you up to around 150,000 ringgit because the degree alone is going to be 90 plus thousand ringgit already. Okay, so it would be pricier. So definitely looking at all these, evaluation, definitely CFAB still sounds like the better deal. All right, but it's up to you, okay? It's up to you to decide. But right now, after this part, if you do have any things you're not sure about, okay, please leave your questions in the chat. Okay, so later on, we can help you, to solve any of your dilemmas on deciding what you should do to go into ICAEW. Okay, so over here also we want to talk about the scholarships for SPM students. For this scholarship, actually for your batch, you are very, very lucky because we have recently revised this scholarship and we have actually lowered down the requirement. So there's going to be more students who would get the opportunity to get a full scholarship to study ICAEW. So under this Global Accountant Scholarship, if your SPM, you have gotten 8 A's, 8 A's including A minus, all right, you'll be able to get a full scholarship for the CFAB course. So this full scholarship would cover the tuition fees, and then also your exam fees, and also your ICAEW registration fees. For those who scores SPM 9 A's, including A minus, then you will be able to get a full scholarship for CFAB and also ICAEW. Guys, this is really, really very worth it. I cannot even imagine any other better scholarships out there than this. For outside, if you want, all this type of full scholarship that covers up to 50,000 ringgit, right? Usually you need to score 9A plus. or A plus. But over here, we even consider your A minus. So as soon as you get 9 A's, all right, you'll be able to get a full scholarship. But there's a deal. Okay, here's the deal. The deal is that the 8 A's or 9A qualification that you get, okay, 2 of the subjects, compulsory, it has to be English and mathematics. These 2 subjects must be A minus and above, okay? Then only you're eligible to get this scholarship. So this scholarship is applicable for all our intakes. And for SPM students, the nearest intake for you would be in July. And July, we're actually starting on the 19th July. So from today, you will have more than 1 month. More than 1 month before you're going to go for the intake. Or if you want to consider to join in later, then you can also go for the August intake. Currently, due to this COVID pandemic, so we have shifted to 2 study modes. You get to choose. You get to choose your study mode. One mode will be fully online study. That means all your classes will be online. You don't have to come back to campus. The second option will be hybrid study. Hybrid study means that for 1 week, we go on a rotation basis. So which means 1 week you can go back to classes on campus, and then the other week it will be online study. But then also the hybrid study, because it depends also on the situation for the pandemic. If let's say it's not very good, and then government decides to extend any MCO, if we are not allowed to bring students back, then all the study mode will revert back to online study. So all this usually our staff will inform you guys. But whichever one you choose, whether on fully online or hybrid mode, there's no differences in the fees, okay? No differences in the fees. So I would say this is a good news. If any of you here are actually not residents in Selangor, maybe you are from other states, don't worry, you can still join this program and you can still opt for fully online study, all right? You won't be missing out on anything. If you don't want to come here for safety reasons, it's okay. Just study at your home, okay, in your own safe space. All right, cool. So for those students who score 3A to 7A, don't worry, you won't be left out. For 3A to 7A SPM students, you can still apply for the entrance scholarship. So entrance scholarship, it offers starting from 2,000 ringgit for 3As. So every A that you get, it increases by 1,000. Up until if you get 8As, you just go for this one, the accounting, global accountant scholarship that I mentioned. So I know again, I know that left and right, a lot of institutions might be approaching you, or we have been going for a lot of talks, and then you are already very confused. I don't know which institution to choose. Which one could be the best for me? Okay, so just a big introduction about ourselves honestly honestly speaking Sunway, we are actually the most popular college in Malaysia for the accounting course. If you don't believe me, because I'm from Sunway, so if you have a doubt in your mind, you can just go and Google recommendations for best colleges to study accounting in Malaysia. I can bet you that there's going to be online recommendation for you to come to Sunway Test to study. This is also actually based on a lot of our track records. We have been, in operation for 27 years. We have offered ICAEW program for over 17 plus years. So throughout all these years, we have already have a lot of good achievement track record, such as this one that you're seeing on your screen. For this past 17 to 18 years, we have already achieved a total of 28 World Prize winners and also 10 Order of Merit. What this basically means is that our students, when they sit for this ICAEW examination, it's actually an international exam. So whichever country that you are in, right, you're actually going to be sitting for the same paper. So, for our students to be sitting for the same one as anyone else in the world, including students from the UK, they managed to score the best, the highest mark in the whole world. And believe it or not, Some of them actually even managed to score 100 marks, guys. I'm not even lying. All of this is really happening, okay? And our own student managed to get it. So actually, we are really, really proud of them. But at the same time, also, I would say all of this would not be possible without our lecturers, hard work, and also the students' hard work that they put in to study. So in here, right, our lecturer, all they are actually very qualified. They are all professional accountants when they teach the ICAEW program. And secondly, they have a lot of experience in teaching. Before they started teaching, a lot of them already has experience in their in working in the industry. That's why when they are teaching the students, right, they'll be able to actually put in examples and also put in their own experience. So that is how our students will be able to pick up all these little things that they are not able to get from the textbook. All right, and then second thing also, our student really, they work very hard, and at the same time also, we do give them a lot of like soft skill classes, and then a lot of like additional just like competitions to actually brush up the students management skill in studying, and then also to teach them all these like time management or how to manage your timetable well for study and so on. So these are actually some of our recent prize winners. Imagine some of them who are getting all these prize awards, they're actually just 20 or 21 years old. They are all just same like you, some of them, they just finish SPM, they take up CFAB, they take up ICAEW that way. And at the end, they score the highest mark in the whole world. You're competing against UK students and we managed to, be on top. So really, Malaysia boleh. Okay, so that is just my short introduction for the ICAEW program. So if after this session you do have any queries that you are quite shy to express it now, you can contact my colleague, Mr. Chilo. I'll leave his contact in the chat. So please screenshot it, and then after this, if you want to do any registration or anything about scholarship application, you can contact Mr. Chilo. All right, is there anyone who has questions here? I think I don't remember some student here because you guys actually WhatsApp me before. We have one question for Keertthna from Shiva Gami. Hi, Miss Keertthna. What are some advices that you would like to give students, or you wish that someone like you earlier, wish that someone told you earlier when you were working or studying for the last 3 advanced papers?
Okay, advice students. Okay, while you're working and taking the last 3 papers. So initially, before I actually took any of the papers, I thought that it would be difficult. I thought it's like, I have to work and then run back and study, work and then run back and study. But the good thing about, I think this is Sunway's arrangement with, I'm not sure, maybe it's the Big 4 or the Big 5. I'm not sure about other companies. But the arrangement is that the second classes start, until you sit for the exam, you get study leave. So that was very helpful, actually. So it's like the whole time, I think it was about 2 to 3 months, actually, just study leave, paid study leave. So you don't have to come back to work. You don't have to think about work. You just study, pass your papers. So that was definitely something that I didn't know earlier. And it was a good, how do you say, it's really a good thing, really a good advantage for ICAEW students. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is only available for ICAEW students to get this study leave advantage. Yeah, any other advice I would feel is, I think Sunway lecturers are really good, especially with ICAEW. Right from the first subject until the last, the 15th subject, all of the lecturers really know what they are teaching. Like, you can ask them anytime, they will be more than happy to help you. And the last 3 papers, they will actually bring lecturers from the UK. Yeah, so all 3 papers, my lecturers were English lecturers, meaning British lecturers, right from England. So they will actually share their contact number, their email with you. So anytime you have any questions, you can just email them. So there's always support available. And if you just go for your classes, do the questions that your lecturers give you and the question bank, definitely you can pass. It's definitely an achievable qualification. Yeah.
I think we had Caroline Nisa raised her hand just now. So I hope Keertthna that was able to answer your question, right, Shivagami?
I think I have seen just now Caroline, she's raised her hand as well. Caroline, do you have any questions you want to ask? You can unmute your mic also if you are more comfortable. Okay, do you have any more questions from the floor? So Caroline mentioned what subject should pass?
I think Evelyn, Caroline might be referring to what subject she will need
SPM,
to. That's
All
right. Yeah.
Okay, so for SPM, if you want to take up the CFAB program, then you will actually have to have 5 A's. 5A in your SPM, including English and mathematics. These 2 subjects has to be A, and the 3 other A can be any other subjects. But I think to enroll into Sunway also, you have to make sure that your sejarah have to be passed. Sejarah must be passed from your SPM.
I think, in other words, the students must have a valid pass for SPM.
You have to have valid pass.
All right.
You need to have the cert. Then only it's considered that you can join Sunway. And then for 5 A's, including English and mathematics, to enroll into CFAB program.
I hope that helps you, Caroline.
All right, is there any other questions? All right, I think if let's say there's no other questions, then we'll wrap up this session. So again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And then thank you to Ming Xiang, the host, and also thank you for Keertthna for the special guest today also for taking your time out, to join us tonight and then to share your experience with the students. All right, so thank you very much. Yeah, thank you everyone. So I think I will say a goodbye to the students who joined us today. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you in Sunway. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn, for having us. Good night. Stay safe.
Good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, MCU has extended, so stay safe.
Yeah, extended.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keertthna.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.